Our Viewers' Voice segment where I pass the mic to you. The concept is simple. Our government represents all Americans, and it should work for you. Republican Congresswoman Laurel, Florida, back with us once again tonight, this time for our Viewers' Voice segment. Congresswoman, thanks for joining us. She's a Republican from Tampa, Florida.
Well, it's great to be with you. Thanks for having me on.
Of course. This is where we're going to start because we got a question about flock cameras from someone in your home state. And this is what they said to us. This is Thomas from Pensacola. He said, what are we going to do about warrantless surveillance through these flock cameras? Law-abiding citizens shouldn't be tracked everywhere they drive without probable cause or a warrant. Where do we draw the line between public safety and the right to privacy? I know that this is becoming a big issue among conservatives.
Well, it sure is. And actually, that question frames it up exactly right. So we know that these cameras provide a vital resource for law enforcement when it comes to tracking down suspects, responding to things like Amber Alerts, the ability to actually use them for good law enforcement purposes. It matters, and it's really important. What the distinction is, and I think what people are rightfully worried about, is where that limit is. It's important that these are not used to just track the movements of law-abiding citizens. So the questions we need to be asking are, what kind of data is being stored? For how long? Are there audits being done of law enforcement agencies to make sure that they're not just collecting data about private citizens and storing it in a way that could really be an invasion of privacy?
I should note to our audience, the Congresswoman, a former federal prosecutor as well. All right, let's stay in Florida. This one actually came from Patrick in New Jersey, but you know that this is a big topic in your home state. Are you concerned about Cuban refugees entering Florida illegally as economic conditions in Cuba worsen?
Well, I think we need to look at immigration in the bigger picture. So I'm concerned about anybody who's entering our country illegally. One of the things that President Trump has done so well is get back to a system where we have a lawful immigration process. So absolutely, there's a lawful way for people from other countries to seek asylum status, to try to come to this country as a refugee. But it has to be done under the letter of the law so that we can be sure that the right people are here, that we know who they are, that they're having thoughtful hearings to really assess what home country they're coming from and whether there's someone who should be admitted to this country under our laws. So that's something that's been a key focus for this Congress, and absolutely what I'm very hopeful that the future for Cuba will be brighter, that this oppressive regime hopefully is in its final stage.
Do you think that happens by the end of the year? That there's regime change there of some kind?
Oh. The end of the year is going to be upon us soon, but I will say I sure hope so. We hear the stories all the time in my area of refugees from Cuba and just how awful the conditions there are. It's a real case study in the dangers of socialism and oppressive regimes.
All right, let me take you to abroad and the big issue for the president. This comes from JR in Colorado Springs, Colorado. He says, why are we constantly told that we have negotiations now? We don't have negotiations now. We're going to bomb Iran. Then we don't. Then we say it again, and we don't. I'm a Trump supporter, he says, but it's getting so old when they're not doing anything about Iran. We are showing our weakness. What would you say to JR there, and what do you think the president needs to do next?
Well, I certainly understand JR's frustration with the failure of the Iranian regime to negotiate and then stick to it. And I think what we're seeing there is a regime that is divided. And so there'll be individuals who come to the table who say they want an agreement and then back away and don't follow through. The key thing to remember there is, first off, the president's aim of ensuring that the terror threat posed by Iran to this country is contained and that they do not have nuclear capability. Certainly, the president wants peace. He wants an agreement and has continued to try again and again to try to reach a peaceful resolution, a prosperous resolution with Iran. But absolutely, we just can't allow them to continue to be a threat to Americans and to our troops serving overseas.
In the control room, let's skip forward to number 5 if we can. And this comes to us from Gregory in Old Bridge, New Jersey. And this is an issue that you often hear from the other side of your aisle. Why is it that corporations and billionaires don't pay their fair share of taxes? Trickle-down economics doesn't work. What are you doing about it, he says?
Well, actually, Republicans in Congress are doing a lot to get tax breaks to real working families across America. And I know most people have heard about no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, small business deductions. These are the kind of things these aren't designed to benefit billionaires. I don't think there are very many billionaires out there who are working on tips and working on overtime. They're made to really help real American families and keep more money in their pockets.
Why aren't they feeling it, though? Polling shows it 1.5% GDP. I mean, I can't imagine that if I had told you, Congresswoman, at the beginning of this, that you'd be talking about 1.5% GDP, that would be some sort of a raving success.
Well, listen, the economy is in progress. We have passed important policies that are going to make a difference. Things like gas prices have been fluctuating. That's the first place everybody feels economic pressure, because we all go there. We all go and fill up, and we all feel it at the pump. Those prices have been fluctuating in part because of the conflict in Iran. But these are things that I think are going to normalize. And by the time we look in the rearview mirror in a few months, Americans will have felt this tax relief. They will feel, hopefully prices will be normalized at the pump. The types of things that are making difference every day, every month in American homes, I think will really start showing themselves.
Michelle from Woodruff, South Carolina. Why don't we privatize the post office? She goes on to say, I'll bet an entrepreneur could find a way to make some money off it.
Well, I will say, let me start here. First off, I have tremendous respect for the men and women of the Postal Service and our mail carriers. They have an incredibly difficult job that they perform very well. And so, I commend them on that work. But I think the point here is a larger one, which is we have a responsibility as government constantly to be looking at the services that we're providing and assessing whether we're doing them efficiently, whether we're doing them in a way that is cost effective. And that should be something that is perpetual. That shouldn't just be done once every 20 years. We need to be looking at those things constantly. And in my view, that's really the core of government efficiency. Are we using technology? Are we auditing what we're doing? Are we thinking about whether there's a better way to harness technology and get better services to the American people and use their dollars well?
Last one, and I got to get it in real quick, Congresswoman. This comes from Blake in Washington, D.C. Max Miller, Corey Mills, a couple of your colleagues. Do you support their continued run for Congress?
What I believe is that any member of Congress who is accused of misconduct or is dealing with issues of that nature must have an opportunity to have that go through our ethics committee process, to take those concerns and address them with the voters of their district. Some of the allegations that have been made there are very serious, but that's all the more reason that it's important that they have an opportunity. It goes back to due process. You mentioned I'm a former federal prosecutor. I believe that we all have those due process rights to present our side of the case when something like this is alleged.
All right. We'll leave it there. Laurel Lee, Republican from the Tampa, Florida area, back with us once again. Congresswoman, thanks so much. We appreciate it.